All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and we are going to be talking about the 147-pound division, where apparently Terrence Crawford's team is taking back something that they said that Jaron Ennis could do to get that fight. This out of the mouth of Brian McIntyre, the trainer of Terrence Crawford. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to be talking about the 147-pound division and Brian McIntyre, the trainer of Terrence Crawford, making a statement about Jaron Boots Ennis in a fight with him. And it seems as if he is contradicting something that has recently been said by Terrence Crawford and what Terrence Crawford would do needed in order to get the fight with Jaron Ennis, or for Jaron Ennis to get a fight with Terrence Crawford. And we're going to talk about that. But before I do, let me welcome you back. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you are a longtime subscriber and supporter, thank you guys so much for your continued support. Mr. Williams, thank you so much, David Williams, for your support and the super thanks. But let's get into this because, look, man, I at this point in time, man, am disappointed in the sport of boxing. And that is because you have a situation where the best fighters that are actually in a division are discouraged from fighting one another in that same division with this very dubious word called legacy, which is really just a way to say, too much risk. I want more money somewhere else. At least a lot of times that's what it is. So Terrence Crawford, who became the undisputed champion at 147 pounds when he beat Errol Spence last July, got stripped of a title, the IBF title, and it was given to Jaron Ennis. A lot of people have been saying that they want to see the fight with Jaron Ennis and Terrence Crawford because, you know, it's only like right, because those are the best two guys in the division. Now, Brian McIntyre, who's the head trainer for Terrence Crawford, has a fighter, Keyshawn Davis, that is going to be fighting on a card on the undercard of Teofimo Lopez versus Jermaine Ortiz, which I do believe takes place tomorrow, the 7th of February. So as usual, you have a lot of people asking him questions, and it came around to Jaron Ennis. And he says that, asked if Jaron Ennis was the best fighter at 147 other than Terrence, he says, I don't know. He has to fight those other guys. And asked about fighting Jaron Ennis, he basically says, no, we're at this point in time looking for, for big legacy fights or big money fights. Some approximation of that statement came from Brian McIntyre, which contradicts what Terrence Crawford had said. When Terrence Crawford was going back and forth with Ray Jackson on Twitter, and shout out to Ray Jackson on Twitter, Terrence Crawford said that he would fight. Yeah, I'll fight your boy. Just tell somebody to send a check, somebody to come up off the check. Now, obviously, you know who the person is going to come off that check is, right? It's going to be the same person that's coming off the check for any fight that he would have against Canelo Alvarez or David Benavidez or Errol Spence Jr. or the like. It would more than likely be the PBC that would say that they wanted that fight. Now, before, when it was Showtime, that fight was absolutely there for Terrence Crawford to fight Jaron Ennis. Don't know whether or not it's there for Terrence Crawford right now. However, if Terrence Crawford says he'll do it for the right money, and Brian McIntyre says that they're not going to do it, they're going off to do something else, and he's already cleared out the division, again, I say Terrence Crawford should drop the belts and move up. If you drop the belts and move up, then there is no more pressure for you to fight Jaron Ennis or anybody else in the division that you cleared out. If you've cleared it out, why are you still there? Why are you still holding on to the belts? Even this in this relatively short amount of time, which means from July when he won the title, right? So it's July, August, September, October, November, December. January, that's 6 months. When Terrence Crawford was at 140 pounds, he dropped the IBF title and then subsequently dropped the rest of the titles and moved up very relatively quickly, I think within a couple months, within a few weeks for the IBF title, so that Sergey Lipinets could, I do believe Sergey Lipinets fought somebody for that IBF title and won the IBF title. I don't think that they just gave it to him or like they did with Jaron Ennis, but that's the route. Otherwise, man, fight Jaron Ennis if you can't get those other fights. He's not going to fight Tim Tszyu because Tim Tszyu is already fighting Keith Thurman. So that puts him out until at very least the end of the year if he was going to fight Tim Tszyu. And I have a suspicion that Tim Tszyu is still going to wind up fighting Jermell Charlo. So I don't believe that Canelo Alvarez is going to get the Terrence Crawford is going to get the Canelo Alvarez fight. I don't think that fight is any more real than the fight between this talk of a fight between Gervonta Davis and Conor Benn. Don't believe it is any more real than that particular fight. Just a lot of back and forth, a lot of talk, right? So at the end of the day, man, I really would love to see I would love to see Jaron Ennis fight Terrence Crawford, but I understand that it is the prerogative of fighters, a specifically fighter like Terrence Crawford, who's that far along in his career and has accomplished that much, to make the decisions that he feels comfortable with. However, if you're going to make those decisions, make the decision and get rid of the belts, because it seems like he's already made the decision that he's not going to be fighting at 147. Unless, of course, what we really have going on is just kind of positioning for them to ultimately wind up making that Errol Spence Jr. rematch, because that is the fight that has the most money for Terrence Crawford. Period. Is that not period? The Canelo Alvarez fight, if he can get it, could be that. But again, I doubt very seriously that he actually gets that fight with Canelo, because it's such a lose-lose for Canelo Alvarez. And Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Crawford may very well win that fight. And I'm sure Canelo Alvarez and Eddie Reynoso and the people around that are not deluded. They know that that Terrence Crawford is a great fighter, and there is a chance that he could lose that fight. And if he loses a fight to a guy moving all the way up to 147 pounds, hey, man, we're back in a legacy issue, right? Do I take that chance when my legacy is already secure? And I could fight guys like David Benavidez, or I can fight Jermall Charlo, or fight whoever else. And here's the thing. If he loses to Terrence Crawford at 168 and had not fought David Benavidez, then it looks a double whammy on Canelo Alvarez, because he lost to a smaller guy as he avoided fighting the best guy in his own division. I want to see, hopefully these guys will all fight in the same division that they have belts in, and defend it against the guys that are best suited to, or the best qualified in that division to fight. But we'll see. I don't think it's promising, though, with the way that Brian McIntyre blew that off. It is what it is, though. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.